We are live. We are live. So, welcome one and all. We are going to pontificate our butts off tonight. We had some major technical difficulties, but I believe we have them all ironed out. So you should get a killer show this week. Last week there was a little bit of an echo issue, and I believe we got that remedied. So we're going to put a good show on for you guys. We are going to get into a couple things. But the main one we want to do is James Gunn, the savior of DC Comics, the film division, and we're going to pontificate about that. I want to get a little bit into Chris Wozniak. This is also Warner Brothers related, so we have a little bit of a connection thematically, and we're going to get into Chris Wozniak. He's one of our CG brothers, and he is bringing the big WB. He's going to try to bring them down to a realistic level to where he can get his just deserved credit and money. If you guys don't know, the Matt Reeves film pretty much used Chris's story idea. So I'll let Chris tell that story in better detail, and we'll update you on what's going on there. Let me say hi to a couple of the Pontificator fans in the chat here. We have Dan, I'm sorry. Hello. I need to drink more. I need to calm down. I am really hyper right now. Okay, so it's not Dawn, it's Dan. All right, we got La Magante. I hope I said that right. La Magante. There you go. That's as good as it's going to get. The Dancing T-Bear. I will dance. I will sing for your dining and dancing pleasure. So, oh man, we got Bob. We got Comic Book Bob in the house. Man, what a stretch. Let's see who else we got. Oh, Clint Helinski's here too. Holy shit. All right, we got John Jones. Hello. Well, you guys in the chat, feel free to chime in. This is a very interactive live stream, so I encourage everybody to ask questions, be part of the live stream. And without further ado, let us introduce the Pontificators. Yeah, we got Todd.
Hey. What's going on, guys? We finally made it. I'm sorry there was a delay. 99.9% of it was art. It was all art's fault. And like a real tiny fraction was Chris Wozniak.
Oh my gosh.
But hey, these sketch cards, have you ever done anything like this?
You know, I'm going to have to bop you after insulting me the way
Whoa,
you did.
wait.
No, that's very good. Yeah, did you draw that all by yourself?
Yes. Have you ever done these? These are 2.5 by 3.5 sketch cards. Have you ever done one?
I refuse to draw that small.
Oh my God, they're killing me. I got to wear glasses. My light is like right here over them with it going this way. So the shadow goes, because I'm left-handed. So all the shadows on that side, they're murder. But look, I got a bunch of them.
Well, congratulations. Those are nice.
There's Craven.
Sweet.
Green Lantern.
Yeah.
Nice,
okay. Huh? All right. So what are those for?
I got a con to do this weekend.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, let's bring in a Comic Book Bob.
Bunch of freaking boomers in this great show, man. I swear to God.
I don't think we'd be able to do the show without Bob.
The entire row we're going, it's down, dude. Just it's in front of you.
Well, you know what Todd kept saying, the gear, and I'm like, where's the gear? But you meant the gear in StreamYard, not gear on my computer.
Ooh. I said it's in a little white box. Guess what?
I'm having flashbacks.
Well, I have other things. I have other things in white boxes too. Oh you know,
God. I used to do Geek Squad, man. I just get flashbacks. I was like, "Is it plugged in?" See, she said, "Gotta drink more." Here you go. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Okay, here we go, Bob. Chug a lug.
Oh my God, Todd, help me.
Yes. So we would not be here right now if it wasn't for Bob. So thank you so much.
Oh my
Bob.
God, you act like I'm an idiot. I was trying to help you.
Well, you weren't speaking the language of idiot because you weren't helping at all, Todd. The only one who can speak proper idiot is Bob.
Todd's like, well, no, what it is, you actually said, you reminded me of the way I have to do it. You said, dude, treat me like I'm a kindergartner. Like, okay, take your mouse and go all the way to the.
You know how many times he said though, I don't have a gear here. There's no gear.
There was no gear where you were telling me to look. You said the lower
Hail
left on your screen, and I went to the lower left, and then you kept saying gear, and there was no gear. All right, we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop.
Yeah,
we got a show to do.
Comes, let's get this. Let's light this candle, man.
You know what? You know what? I'm gonna bring somebody in who isn't gonna bitch and whine and groan. I'm gonna bring in Clint Helinski.
I'm not going to bitch or whine or moan. I'm going to laugh.
Yeah.
Bob, hey, first of all, everybody in the chat, Bob saved the show tonight. Like, not all of us are computer savvy. Not all of us, like, know where all the, like, little doodads are and shit. Bob knows where they are. And Todd, I did sketch cards. I've never worked for Marvel. I've never drawn a comic for Marvel, but I did sketch cards for Marvel one time.
Oh, God.
So that's my claim to fame. But sketch cards are a bitch. It is
especially when you're over 50.
Yeah. Oh dude. God, I can't even imagine my knuckles trying to get the little details on the card. Yeah. Oh, and the readers, get the readers on. Hell yeah.
Oh got the bifocal thing in them.
Like I don't draw an 11 by 17 anymore. I draw in 22 by 34.
Dude,
like,
that's what Arthur Adams does.
It's like I can see the detail.
Arthur Adams does, man. Why not?
All right, man. Well, there's more bitching going on. I'm gonna have to rename this this live
the old man bitch show.
Bitch stream. This is the bitch stream. Let's bring a young man in, somebody that's got he's healthy, he's wealthy and wise. It's Pedro Ang. What?
Pedro?
Hey, baby.
Sleeping.
Pedro?
Hey.
Oh.
Pedro. It's been a while.
Oh.
Wow. How you doing, guys?
Pedro's the young man of this crew.
I don't feel young, man, but
no, I know, and you will never feel young again.
No,
just to break it to you.
Yeah, never.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, never ask Todd to explain anything technical to you. He sucks at it.
Okay.
Hey, we got through it. That's all that matters.
Yes, and okay, so I'm going to introduce the biggest troublemaker of all the pontificators. Everything stems from this one guy. And his name is Chris Wozniak. What's up, Chris?
Litigious.
It was literally like watching people at the old age home trying to reset the Wi-Fi. It was a half hour fucking what? I don't know. Get to what button?
Where's my Wapner? Wapner.
That's why he brought me in last, because he knew I was gonna.
Well, you know why I did, Chris, is because these a-holes were throwing me under the bus. So I was like, well, I'm going to throw Chris under the bus.
We're missing Matlock.
I'm going to do him last, though. Yeah. Okay. So we already killed like almost a half hour of our time just trying to set everything up and introduce everybody. But you know what? I want to start off with Chris. Chris has a great. I want to say a story just because I'm kind of observing it from the outside. But Mr. Wozniak is doing something that most creators do not do. It is very, very brave. And usually it means career, Harry Carey. But he's doing it anyway. And Chris is suing the big WB. So we've mentioned it a couple times on Pontificators, but I know that you're moving forward on that. And I'm sure everybody would like to be updated. So what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, yesterday or the day before, we were in the New York Post. There was a big article, covering the lawsuit. I dropped it, just a few days ago. I don't remember exactly what day, but yeah, I mean, we're gonna rock and roll with that. I think I've got a really solid case. I know it's Warner Brothers and they've got $1 bazillion. But my
Not
lawyer is
anymore.
confident. He's like, you've got a good case here, and so we're gonna go and get this corrected, and we'll see what's what. We'll let the courts decide.
If they want to settle, Chris, and that's fine. You don't want to go through the whole process, and you want to settle, but you also have them change the credits on the goddamn freaking movie.
Man, they would literally. I would imagine they'd give me $50 million before they would change the credits on the movie. That's like the last thing. We're gonna. I deserve credit. I should be credited, but you know how they're gonna be with that. They're gonna fucking fight tooth and nail for all that shit because at that point that giving money to somebody and then paying them also to be quiet. You know how they are. That's one thing, but for them to go and then have to go through all the other contracts, they're going to really want to avoid that. But
well, I think you're a really brave person, and you've already done most of the heavy lifting, because just to get an attorney, I've done stuff like this before, and just to get an attorney that really believes in your case and one will take it and then believes in your case, that's a big to do. So you're with a major law firm.
Yeah,
this guy has faith in your story and thinks that he can win. And this guy would not be taking the case if he did not think he had one and that there was a chance of winning. So, more power to you. These are really hard, to prove.
But then again, my case is a lot better than most, that have, oh, hey, that's kind of my, there's some things in this that are really like, hey, what the fuck? I went into them in the videos and everything. I'm not going to talk about it here. And there's even more to it that we didn't drop because, I was always saving a couple of things. But, it is what it is. Once I had the attention, and especially after I got the copyright and everything, I actually had no problem getting attorneys. I had 3 offers in 1 week to take the case. I chose the guys that I think, I think they had the sharpest teeth, and they didn't, because initially before that, when I was talking to attorneys, a lot of guys were like, oh, I can't handle this. They thought I had a case, but they were like, oh, they didn't have the resources to deal with Warner Brothers. And the guys I chose didn't even blink. They were like, yeah, no problem, we'll do that, because they do all kinds of shit like they deal with.
Well, you have to have some deep pockets because it costs money. Because that's usually how these things work, where the corporation will just kind of keep it going as long as they can to try to bleed you dry, to where you just drop out of the whole thing. And so as long as your attorney knows that and is willing to go the long haul, I think you have a chance, because
he knows what he's getting into.
Yeah. So just real quick, let everybody know what this is all about, so people have some kind of context, and then we'll move on. Or if anybody the Pontificators have any questions for you, then we can do that as well.
Well,
what's your backstory?
Well, yeah, I wrote that story forever ago. I first submitted that story to Archie Goodwin in 1990, but I submitted it several times over the years. And also, but I also gave it to Michael Uslan, who's the executive producer of the films. And it's shortly after that Warner Brothers were trying to get Nolan to do a Riddler serial killer story with, that was reported to be a Riddler serial killer story by numerous sources, and then also with a Catwoman and Penguin characters that they were offering those roles to, like Rachel Weisz and Jonah Hill and whatnot, and they were trying to get DiCaprio to be the Riddler. They were super hot to do this, and it was Christopher Nolan. He was like, I just did the Joker, I don't want to do another thinking villain. He wanted to do someone for Batman to fight, so he went with he nixed it and went with
Bane
for the third. But lo and behold, the next Batman solo film that comes up, it's that story again. So we've got
and that Michael Uslan, he dates back to the Burton stuff, right?
Yeah, Yeah, he's as far as I know, he personally has the Batman film rights. He did the very first Keaton movie, and and every Batman film since has been under his management.
Yeah. So well, good luck with that. Does anybody have anything to add or any questions for Chris?
Well,
Not the freaking movie sucked. Anyway,
My daughter told me it sucked, and she said, "Dad, don't go see it." And I didn't go see it based on her.
I thought it was all right. I thought it was pretty good.
I thought the Riddler plot was really good.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was right from the comics.
That was the good part.
Like a good writer, like a good comic book writer wrote that story, because usually Hollywood movie writers just shit all over that crap. So
yeah, well, that's one of the things I always said, that like the Riddler could be so much more dangerous than they make him out to be in the comics a lot.
Yeah,
and in that movie, he's super dangerous, man. He's really dangerous.
Yeah.
But like the guy that was playing him, the performance of the guy that was playing him, that was the part where I was just like, because he plays him very whiny.
Yeah, I think they were trying to like go the opposite way. So I have this super dangerous guy, and then have this doughy boy, innocent looking. You know how Paul Dano can pull that off. But I just saw literally maybe a half hour ago, Warner Brothers announced that Batman 2 is delayed.
Yeah, I just saw that it's pushed back to 2025.
2025, and there's already videos speculating that it's not going to get made. We'll see. Who knows?
Well,
but the reason I thought this was funny. Apparently, the excuse they're using for delaying the film is Matt Reeves has not finished the script.
Well, you know what?
I wonder why not.
You need to get on this, Chris. You need to write another
I
Batman story so you can steal it.
With that or what?
Yeah, but it's like, and there's also like
I did find the second Batman story I forgot I had written. I didn't publish it.
Make sure you put like,
because he wasn't done with his script yet.
Maybe email him directly and say we can settle, and then talk about compensation for the second movie.
Yeah, all you got to do is make it right, and Amy.
Yeah.
I'm willing.
We're all flexible.
Yeah, I'm willing to. Let's get something done.
What you say, Dad?
Uslan has some writing credits as far as comic books go. I think he wrote DC's Shadow that had those nice Sienkiewicz covers. I don't know if you remember that.
No, those are Andy Helfer.
Those are Andy Helfer? Okay.
Yeah.
And he initiated the Stan Lee Just Imagine if he had created these DC heroes.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
he had something to do with that. Yeah. But he's got a couple of credits and
well, if I'm not mistaken, he worked at DC. I mean,
he did.
Yeah, he's been in the office and stuff way back in the day. So I mean, he's got
and he's a lawyer, so maybe he should go, hey, I did steal that. So if you guys want to get out of this, I would do it this way.
Well, I always think that there's a certain level of it's either arrogance or they just forget where these things came from, right? Because they get pitched so many different things. So either way, it's inexcusable.
This smacks of, hey, you don't have an idea? Look, open this drawer, go in here, pull this out. Look in here. Maybe there's something you can use.
Yeah, but Warner Brothers was talking about that Riddler story 4 months after I gave him my story. So that's just enough time to, rewrite the Catwoman and Penguin into it and try to fob it off. So, I mean, it's really... So
when you're talking about that, so are we talking about the Batman Returns time, like with Burton?
That would have been the third Christopher Nolan film.
Oh, so that's later. When did you originally write the story? What year was that?
Shit, I first wrote the story in 1990.
Okay. So when did the Batman film came out before that, right?
The first one was 89.
The first Batman movie is 89, I think.
Yep.
Okay, so it didn't affect the Burton stuff. So this was when you pitched this.
No. Then I had pitched it just to DC, but like I said, obviously, Uslan does have access to all the Batman stuff at DC, but when I gave it to Uslan, it was 2008, and that was I think it's right after the second Nolan movie, and then they were pushed. They immediately there were articles, and David Grohl did interviews recently. They were hardcore pushing to do the Riddler, And
Did you say David Goyer?
Goyer is
Goyer.
Yeah,
that,
Goyer.
That is a hack. That we got to get rid
How
of
does
that
that?
guy.
How does David Goyer, like, who does he have pictures of? Like, that guy is such a hack, and he gets to write everything for DC,
Yeah.
and it's all crap.
Well,
Yeah,
I
I've never
don't
seen anything.
understand it.
he's hooked up with somebody there.
Yeah.
Yeah. He needs Chris's ideas.
Well,
so you pitched this to who at DC originally?
Initially with Archie.
Okay.
Remember Archie when Archie first took over the Batman office, But then also, and I've been, shopping anytime, like, somebody,
Whoa.
talk
closer to the speaker.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
but
to the mic.
Like over the years, like with guys like Chris Batista and Tex and stuff like that, like, if we were working on something, it was over, and they were like, "Hey, we should do something else." I would always kind of bring that up. I always had it, like, in the back of my. It was a good story we just never used, and I was like, "You want to go to the Batman office with this?" And it's just one of those things where I just throw it out there every once in a while, and then I resubmitted it to DC too, like about 2002, after Archie passed away. And but I used to show that script around all the time as like my writing sample at DC. That story's been all over the place. So
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the guy's name that I pitched. He did the Green Arrow series. He's a writer producer. I can't remember his name, but I pitched him a Batman idea. But unlike you, I said you're free to use it. Oh, it's Mark Guggenheim. Mark Guggenheim's a good guy.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, Mark's a good guy. And we were having drinks, and I pitched him. I've actually told the story on a live stream, and it's a Batman courtroom drama with the Joker. So my thing is like, what if I love courtroom dramas? I think they're great. And so it was, what if Joker finally stood trial, for murder? And so, like, there's never, it's like, if you're insane, you're not up for the death penalty and all this other stuff. Right. So I was like, well, Gotham is finally fed up, and then I came up with a statistic, like 1 out of every 5 people has fallen victim of the Joker, so Gotham as a whole just decided no more. And that if they ever caught him, that he was going to get the death penalty. So they finally get him, they bring him in. So they have to keep him alive. So Gordon and Batman have to keep him alive because the people of Gotham just want him dead. So now he's very public, in a courtroom. And so then you find out in the story that it wasn't the Joker. It was somebody pretending to be the Joker that wanted to see the Joker put down. And so it's kind of like Hush. I came up with it way before Hush. But I remember talking to Guggenheim, and he goes, Batman, Joker, courtroom drama? He goes, that's gold.
Well,
yeah.
You know how it is. I mean, because up at Warner Brothers, I have no idea what's going on up there with like fucking announcement after announcement and the shit. So I mean, they just announced the Batman sequel, like a month or two ago, and now it's like, oh, it's going to be a few more years. When they say a movie is going to, is getting kicked down the road a few years, that's not a good, that's not a great indication.
Well, there's also the rumor that
the Affleck is back, right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
for 3 more movies.
there's just all kind.
I mean, Affleck and Cable are back. So
yeah. I would love to put a bug in Zaslav's office at this point. There's so much.
I think it would be like an uncontrolled laughter, like manic. If you put a mic inside that office, like, and just like that guy's having fun.
Somebody get the mescaline.
Hands full. That's for sure.
Well, I think Zaslav is the guy, because what I hear is he does like DC Comics and he really likes Superman, and he said that he wants a DC film universe to rival Marvel's. So he wants a coherent universe, one that kind of mingles, one theatrical DC universe, and all that was missing was one person, like who would be the guy that would head this. And so recently it's come out that James Gunn is indeed that guy. So now we're
is James Gunn going to be in charge of the films too? Because earlier I heard it was just TV and animation. He's doing the films.
No, it's all the film,
the whole shebang, yeah.
Yeah, and so then his producing partner, I don't know the guy's name.
Luciferian.
Yeah, he's coming in as well. So it's a partnership. So you have kind of the creative with the guy that can make things happen.
Crunch the numbers.
Yeah.
There's one guy there to make sure that they got all the financials right, and then James Gunn is creative. Like he's going to be the guy.
Now, what did you guys think of? What was the last thing James Gunn did? Was that Suicide Squad?
Suicide Squad.
He's writing that Peacemaker and producing that as well.
See, I bought it on Blu-ray, but I never got around to watching it, so I haven't seen it.
I don't know. Like I respect that he pulled off Starro. Like that's a hard character to realize on film, and he did a decent job. Like I wouldn't have gone with Starro.
The big problem is that a lot of the best characters for Suicide Squad were used in the first movie, and they couldn't bring them back.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
well, that's also what they say is James Gunn's strength is taking really obscure characters and making them interesting. Not that they weren't interesting to begin with. Like I think that's giving him too much credit. But he's willing to take some more obscure characters and move them forward. But I also think that could be his weakness. Because I heard that he was asked to do some more heavy hitter characters. I think it was even Superman. He was asked to come in, and he declined. So it kind of makes me think that maybe he's more comfortable with some of the lesser weird characters.
There's less expectation,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Gives him more leeway. Yeah.
Wasn't what was it? The kid Superman, Brightburn? Is that his? Wasn't that his?
Brightburn. I don't.
Right? No,
that's not his.
No,
I don't think so.
He did do a super powered character.
Well, he produced it. He didn't.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at his filmography right now.
I like Brightburn.
It was interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, it's stories.
I mean, for what it is.
Right? I think for what position they're putting him in as a creative overseer, he's a creative guy.
Yeah.
He gets the different aspects of like serious, humorous, like he gets the different tones. He's got his own tone, Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad, they've got their vibe. But I think he is also flexible enough that he gets the whole different genres. He's seen what's worked at Marvel. He's been behind the scenes. I can see this working as a creative in a supervising position that's going to get other creatives, whether you want a serious tone, whether you want a comedic tone, he's going to kind of like look at the full range of stuff and look at it based on the characters that they're doing. So creative wise, I can see it working. I mean, it'll always be down to when the movie comes out and how well it does, but I don't think it's a horrible choice for a creative director.
I think it's a good idea, and I think that he has a mat on right now because I do believe he was screwed over by Marvel. Even though I do think some of his Twitter stuff was inappropriate, you can debate whether it was in good taste or that it was funny, whatever. But he did get fired from Marvel and Disney. And so he went over to DC, and then he did Suicide Squad. And Suicide Squad, for the most part, was a really successful DC film.
Filmed in Panama.
Yes, because of the tax breaks.
Exactly.
And so then so you have that. So he was also the DC the Marvel phase that they just canceled prematurely. Was it 4? That was supposed to be the Cosmic. So that was supposed to be led by James Gunn. So when he came back to Marvel, which they hired him back just because they kind of had to, but they already had the ball rolling in this multiverse craziness that they went instead. So when he came back, that all that stuff had been scrapped, or at the very least been moved, to the side.
I was looking forward to that to do the, the old
Fantastic Four, and
Jack did such great cosmic stuff, and Ditko too.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, he went back, and I don't really know what happened, but it didn't happen. So I don't know if they kind of gave him like, we'll put a pin in it and we'll revisit this later or whatever. But I have a feeling it wasn't going anywhere.
No.
And so he just agreed to do what was it? It's the Christmas special that
and Guardians 3, yeah,
and then Guardians 3. And then DC gives him the keys to the entire universe, and it's like, what would you do? You know what I mean?
I'm reserving my enthusiasm because I'm yet to see James Gunn say no. And that's the crucial thing of this position he's in. And Feige has shown what not being able to say no gives you, which is She-Hulk. Like, he tried to stand his ground with the writers, like, I'll quit. And I was like, well, I don't want to be accused of anything. He didn't say no, and now She-Hulk just destroyed the MCU. So,
but the thing is Gunn has to report directly to Zaslav. And from what I've been able to tell, just glean off the internet, Zaslav does have the ability to say no.
Yeah.
Well, also, to your point, Clint, it was Zaslav that went after this guy. It was him and his team. And then from what I understand, it's James Gunn, it's his producer partner, and it's David Zaslav. And that's it. That's it. So
that's I think Zaslav's instruction to them is make me money. Make me money, bring me winners, make me money.
But what I'm trying to say is it's only 3 people. They only have to go through the channels of 3 people to get things moving.
But not
and that's great.
It's Gunn and his partner, and I'm sorry, I don't know his name, but it's Gunn and his partner who are reporting to Zaslav. And we've been saying this for like a month or 2 now, that the WB universe needs that guy, that one guy, creative guy, in charge to make those calls. They can't be business calls. They can't be, being counter calls. It has to be a guy who understands comics and has that
understands comic continuity, man.
But I mean, to David Zaslav's credit, to get a guy that's powerful like that in your corner, he can make things happen. So if you can sell that guy on an idea, he'll manifest it. You know what I mean? If it makes sense to that guy, it'll happen. But they don't have to go through all the board of Warner Brothers. They don't have to do all that shit anymore. They answer directly to that guy. Right. And we've all been in creative situations like that. And the more people involved, the worse things get. Yeah, and so my hope is that you have a guy that can actually make things happen at Warner Brothers. And then you have a producer that can make sense to that guy financially, right? And then you have a creative guy, which is James Gunn, that could come up with ideas or get creative people involved, like what Clint was saying, like this is this tone of this movie, or this is the tone of this character. Yeah. So he can go directly to that creative person, hire them, and then because James Gunn understands comics and understands this stuff, they can talk in a way that makes sense, and then they can move forward. And then if they can make financial sense, then David Zaslav's brought in, and then he either greenlights it or not, and then you either have something or you don't. And that is a great place to be, which DC never had that up to this point. They had Snyder, but then you had these faceless execs, right? That were overriding that guy's decision. Sometimes they were right, sometimes they were wrong, but it just became a clusterfuck. Almost
you cannot be creative by committee. That never, ever.
Yeah, that never works.
That's the worst fucking idea ever. And
one
now is it's the right idea. It's what we've been saying for quite some time now. They need that point man, that creative point man. And and I know it's weird for me to say since I'm suing Warner Brothers, but this is great for them. I think it's the right thing to do. We all want that fucking DC.
Universe. we want more great Superman. We want more great Batman. Yeah. We want more great Justice League, man. That's what we want.
I want Warner Brothers to make money so they can pay Chris. That's all I want.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to pay for the stories they use, but other than that, like we wish them well.
Well,
and who doesn't want a fucking DC movie verse that's great?
Yeah,
That would
exactly.
kill.
Yeah.
That'd be
Oh
awesome.
God, man, I want the Justice League versus Decide. You
Yeah.
know? And that's what, my God. But this is the thing. Any issues that I have with Gunn put aside, the one thing I do know about him is he works really well with other people. And other people, James Gunn, and other people want to work with him. So
and
as long as
he's a creative guy too. Like I heard,
he's got a sense of the creativity.
Half of the Peacemaker TV show he wrote. You know what I mean? So this guy isn't just sitting back and just letting other people, run the show. This guy is actually involved creatively. But I want to ask you guys, how do you feel about James Gunn? Do you think that he can do this job? Because I have my own issues with him as a creative person, but I want to hear your thoughts before, I throw mine out there. So Todd, how do you feel about James Gunn as a creative person? And do you think that he's going to be able to actually shape the DC, film universe?
The movies he has done, right? I can only speak for what he's done so far. There's nothing there that I dislike or hate. I think he handles comedy way better than Taika whatever.
Taika Waititi.
Yeah, Hiker suck my TD.
Yeah,
His name is like Gordon Cohen or something, but he changed it to Taika Waititi.
Yeah, I think his blend of comedy works better. It works better for superhero movies than that guy's, because his comedy, like sort of his pirate show there, whatever the hell that's called. I get it. It's funny. It's sort of Coen Brothers ish, and it reminds me of that. It doesn't really work for superheroes. The first 30 minutes of Love and Thunder are cringy. So I like James Gunn's movies. I like the fact that he gets family involved in his movies. I kind of like that. I like the people that are loyal to him and are willing to go to bat for him and do his movies. Granted, he did something when he was young. He apologized for it. He knew it was stupid, and he took those things down. But that doesn't mean that's the end of your road. You know what I mean? You have to. We all do some stupid things when we're young. I'll tell you that. So, is he the right person? They just needed a person because they didn't have one. It doesn't matter.
But they needed a person with ideas.
It could be me, or it could be you.
I think
that's how bad it was. You know what I mean?
No direction at all.
Yeah, I think
one of the people
was a lot of
that was pitched around, which I still think could have worked, is Jeff Johns. But the thing is, I've hung out with Jeff, and I just don't think he has the personality to actually go to toe with some of these executives. Because the thing is, I learned, and I know most of you guys know this too, is it's about the pitch. Like every one of your ideas has to be pitched. And so you have to put a good pitch together, even if it's the most minute thing. So one of the things you do as a creative person when you're working with other people is you're constantly coming up with ideas and then pitching them and then defending those ideas. And I just don't think that Jeff, from what I know about his personality, that he had that personality type to be able to actually stand toe to toe with powerful people, to argue against it. I mean, like, how does Green Lantern, the Ryan Reynolds film work when you have Jeff Johns directly involved? Like, how does that happen? And the only way I can see it happening is because Jeff Johns could not argue. He could not creatively argue with the people that were working on the film. And that, I think, is a big thing. And so we know that James Gunn can do that because he's done it in the past. I mean, Marvel for Phase 4 was going to do the galactic universe stuff. So they obviously had faith in that guy, and he could pitch an idea and he could actually back it and make it happen. So I did have hopes for Jeff Johns, but I just don't think that he had the personality for it. So what do you think, Bob? I mean, do you think that Gunn is the guy?
I think he could be. I think there's a lot of situations that we have to see how he handles them. Like I said, he's a very affable guy. He works well with people. People like working with him. The whole reason he came back to Marvel is because basically the entire cast said that they weren't going to do the next movie if he wasn't part of it.
Right.
He instills that kind of loyalty in people and whatnot. And yeah, he did something really, really stupid when he was young. He apologized for it vehemently, and I know that's still sticking people with some people. But the thing that I look at is he is a creative guy, and even though he's taking on an executive role here, he's gonna want to create stuff. So my question is he going to insert himself directly into something that maybe he shouldn't? So that's the first hurdle I think he's gonna have to get over.
Right.
Can he put other people on these projects if maybe he's sitting there going, man, I really want to do that, where he's not going to be able to do his executive job quite as well. So that's one hurdle I think he needs to get over. The second, I think, is he going to be able to thrive in an environment where maybe a creative person in situations isn't going to be what's needed? Is he going to defer when he needs to? Yeah. So there's some things that we don't know about yet. But one thing I will say is that it has really caught people's attention, and it's what we said. It's like Todd said, you need that person. You got to put somebody in charge. You can't run things by committee, not like this. And them putting him in charge, at least on the creative side of things, I think is a major step forward. And like you said, it's him, it's the other guy, and then it's Zaslav.
Yeah, and I think just the tone of the way we're talking right now is good, and I think the fan base should be talking this way. Be a little bit more skeptical. Don't think that this guy's God and he's going to go in and he's going to make everything work. I think that we're kind of done with that. You know what I mean? Like putting too much faith in one creative person or in their vision. So, Chris, what do you think?
Well, I think, first of all, it's the right move to find a guy. We all know this, to find that one creative guy to be point man. Now, what's good about this, just looking as everything will branch out from this one particular person instead of, fucking lawyers and producers and, all that crazy shit that just, that ruins everything, is that creative people, when they manage, they have a tendency to understand that you let other creative people create. You hire the good people, right? You hire the right guys and you let them go.
You get out of the way. Yeah.
The window you're going to work in, go do it, and fucking, hands off unless there's a problem. And creative people kind of get that more than management people. In my experience, like people who are, management in general, who do any kind of dealings with creative people, don't understand how to manage creative people at all. Only creative people understand how to walk that line of being taskmaster and at the same time you got to be the cheerleader and you got to be their biggest fan. And you got, with creative people, you got to set them up to work in a comfortable space where they can create. You can't fucking give them a world of shit to say, okay, go now be fucking creative here. You got when you're managing creative people, you just do things that are for them so they can just do what they do. So, I think this is in particular, will he be great at that job? Gunn, I don't know. I don't think it's a bad move. I think this is the right type of move for sure. I think we all want it to work. We'd all love to see that DCU that is gonna move forward. And just to jump back for 10 seconds on the Green Lantern thing, I just heard today that they had 8 episodes or something scripted for the HBO Green Lantern show that was supposed to be Hal Jordan. Shit, and they're gonna retool for Jon Stewart.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah, but that might. The reason for that could be that they're freeing up Hal Jordan. They're freeing up Hal Jordan for movie work.
Yeah.
Well, also, I think for branding, it's better because all the cartoons and stuff had Jon Stewart in it. They didn't have Hal Jordan. So I think as far as the zeitgeist goes, I think there's probably more familiar more people are familiar with the Jon Stewart character than they are the Hal Jordan character. So I think from that standpoint, it could make sense. You know, I don't think it necessarily is one of those diversity things.
No,
I mean, Jon Stewart is an awesome character. Like, I don't mind if they do a proper Jon Stewart story, and there's no like racism in the Green Lanterns or something. Like, if they don't go that way, it would be great. But if they go like affirmative action in OA, I'm turning the TV off.
Hal Jordan's my Green Lantern, but I like Alan Scott and Jon Stewart. I don't like Kyle.
You
don't
son
like
of a bitch.
Yeah, but
don't let the people in your own profession.
I see another feud brewing.
Well,
if you shit on Spider-Man, I'm gonna shit on the fucking fourth tier.
I was gonna say this for later, but we're like talking about race swapping at all. Talk about the greatest race swap that nobody even gives a shit about. And well, I mean, I don't know who's seen the movie, so I guess, I mean, you've seen the commercials, Hawkman.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's seen the movie. I thought Hawkman kicked ass, and they're setting him up for his own solo movie, man.
Well, and it depends on which version of him it is too, because the guy keeps getting reincarnated. So
well, it's is it Ted Hall or is it Carter? It's Carter Hall.
It's supposed to be Carter Hall. Okay,
so it's Carter Hall, and I mean, he was awesome in the movie, and it's like talk about like nobody giving a shit about a race swap. Like, it was awesome. Like, I haven't heard anybody complain about it.
Let's face it, he's not Superman.
Well, Pedro, before we get off topic, like we got what do you think moving forward? Do you think
okay, so
is the guy?
If we get this tripod, Gunn, the other guy, and Zaslav saying no, I'm a little bit more optimistic, and I just want to see people get fired who don't need to be there. You know,
you mean old people that weren't really doing their job, you know?
Not really old people that don't really love the characters and have a, you know,
I would say it's the old people that love the characters and the new people,
like
the millennials that don't
have the contempt.
They just have like an ulterior motive to grab their characters and say something else. Those people should be fired. So, I mean, all I'm seeing is like a huge machine that has like a huge branch in the middle of the cock. They have to remove that branch for it to operate. Yeah. So if there's no cleanup, I don't see it happening. But Zaslav is doing a good job so far. So,
well, there will be cleanup. They still have like $1 billion that they have to cut as far as fat. And to be honest, I think Disney's going to have to do this soon. I think all these entertainment companies are going to have to be doing this relatively soon, because this woke stuff has not been working for them. They're going to have to rethink everything. So like you said, Pedro, if some heads have to roll, let's get out, get those people out that don't believe in these characters and they don't understand them. They have contempt for them.
CNN is getting gutted.
Yeah.
Twitter's about to get gutted.
Oh my God. Did you see that video of Elon walking in the friggin' Twitter?
Yeah, with the sink. Yeah, that was funny.
Oh my God, that was hilarious. They had
that guy's the ultimate troll.
The employees have the list of their demands.
Yeah, that's gonna work out.
Yeah,
they're saying, they're all saying
like, you save that paper to wipe your ass with, because
the funny thing is,
money for toilet paper next week.
The funny thing is about that paper, they're saying like up to 75% of the employees would quit. He goes, I wasn't planning on firing that many of them anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, you can't make these demands unless you have something to bargain with. Like otherwise, it's pointless. Like, the only way you can be taken seriously in a negotiation is if you have something that you can hold over their head or something they want. He doesn't give a shit. Most of those people are just employees, right? They're nothing against them. But anybody could take their place. Anybody could do that job. And so when you're in that kind of position, if you're a barista at Starbucks, nothing against baristas, well, you're a dime a dozen, right? You have nothing to negotiate with. You have no clout, and you have nothing that company would even consider listening to.
But that's a great point, because there was that place, there was the coffee shop that that it was like, I don't know how to say it, it was going along with all the woke ideology, and the coffee shop opened, and it was pandemonium because in the first week or something, it was like all the employees demanded that the owners who went through all the trouble of opening a store like turn it over to the workers, and they had to close like within a month. They couldn't, like it was just pandemonium. It's just unrealistic, crazy, childish shit. Like, oh, thanks for opening this business. Now you have to leave and give it to us. That you hired to work for $10 an hour, and now it's going
right. And you didn't build any of it. You didn't.
Yeah,
you say you have ownership, or you're acting like you have ownership, but you created nothing, and you put there's no stakes involved.
They want it.
Yeah, but for some reason they want it or feel like they're entitled to it, and that's a major difference.
Yeah.
But how do you feel, Clint? Before we go off the rails,
I'll just go into. I think James Gunn is the right guy. I think he's gonna know creatives, and like what Chris was saying earlier, you got to let creatives have their space to run with it. I think he's gonna get that, and he's got a guy as a partner who gets the money angle of it, and you need that with a creative because creatives aren't always on top of the business, and they're like side by side with Zaslav wanting to make money, wanting to make profit. And that's the biggest thing is like, there's one thing that I believe in. It's capitalism. I don't believe in religions. I don't believe in politics. I believe in capitalism. People want to make a better life for themselves. So Zaslav knows that he wants these movies to make profit. I think James Gunn is a good creative, and he's going to find other good creatives to run with it. And he's got a money guy right beside him. That's what you always want with creative, is somebody figuring out how to make the most profit from this guy's genius and ingenuity. But somebody's pointing out over here is all of these moves, is this going to destroy the MCU?
That's gonna be my next. Let me.
You got The Rock. You got Henry Cavill.
Whoa, wait.
I'll let you go. Sorry.
Let me chime
God
in.
damn it, I'm gonna put a muzzle on you, man.
And then we'll put a period. We'll put a period on that, and then we'll move to the next. Okay. Well, I think James Gunn is good in many ways. I think that he didn't just direct and write the Guardians movies, but he was also brought in as the brain trust for that expanded, next, phase at Marvel. So he was a guy that was also brainstorming the universe. You know what I mean? He wasn't just like, this is the Guardians universe. This is the Marvel universe kind of moving forward. And so that's great. So he's got a lot of skills that way. And I heard that he was brought in for like the Infinity Wars and stuff like that. So the guy has that understanding of how it was done firsthand, at the competitors, place. Having said that, my worry is tone, because I think the big key to the DC universe moving forward is to find a proper tone, a tone that works as a general. And then you could have stuff being ridiculous or funny or more dramatic and maybe darker or whatever, but a good general tone to have for the entire universe. And then, but make it to where you can pivot off of that. Like I said, you could dramatically go, comedy, you can go dark, you can go in all these different directions, which is what the Marvel universe at the, when it was working, could do very, very well. So I do hold hopes, because he understands that. He's been there. And so I do have hopes that he can do that. But having said that, I think for me, you have the best of both in two movies. James Gunn. You have Guardians 1 and you have Guardians 2. Guardians 1 was very, very good. The comedy came out of the character. It came out of the situation. It didn't feel like it was just a joke for a joke. And so everything worked. in that first movie. The tone, the universe, the world building, everything worked, right? But the second movie, to me personally, felt like it was almost like a parody of the first.
Yeah.
It didn't feel sincere. It didn't feel real. It felt like this is what people expect. People want this. So it's like, it was almost like a checkbox. It's like, well, the first movie had X, Y, Z, so that's what we're going to put in. And then it felt very mechanical. It felt very forced and just didn't feel sincere. And to me, it almost felt like it was a parody of the first movie. It was somebody trying to be James Gunn. And sometimes this happens. Like Todd McFarlane is a comic book creator. You know, I think like right now, he's a parody of what he was. You know, like sometimes there's expectations in the marketplace, and so then the creative person tries to be that, but failing miserably. You know what I mean? Because it's not sincere. It's you're trying to be this other thing, but it's not.
That's an interesting thing, because one of the things that Gunn has never done, he's never done a sequel. He had never done a sequel up to that point.
Okay.
So he had never built. So he's always done these one-offs. You know what I mean? And so, like, trying to take something and you know, like capture lightning in a bottle again, that's a hard thing to do. But even if you're not going to do that, just to build something that just is contiguous like that.
But I thought the world building was good in the second one. I thought it felt like a natural, you know, progression to the adventures of the Guardians, right? But I think it just felt insincere. It felt, I can't really describe it other than
it felt like his corporate movie.
Yeah, but he's, you know, that's the old adage. Don't ever listen to your audience. You should never ever try to please your audience. You just be creative. Do your vision. You know, don't try to make people happy ever. You know, do what you think is going to be new and interesting, or your particular point of view. Anytime you start, you know, because trying to please people, like, and is the same as doing that. That's the actual problem that, you know, comes into play when you try to be creative by committee. It's exactly that. There's too many fucking opinions, you know.
Too many cooks,
yeah. And so, but you know, when you have success and then you try to repeat it, you've just fallen into that same trap, because what you're doing is like, oh, this worked and that worked, and I'll do more of that. And don't do more of that. Do what you did the first time, which is to do something unique, you know, and do something, you know, like bold and original, and do your vision. But as soon as you try and start to please people and anything creative, it's a failure. It's not gonna, you know, at best, it's gonna be marginal. Ever.
Well, it becomes a checklist. It's like, well, what worked for the first movie? Check. What, you know, this, and this. I think the real trial is going to be the third movie. So if the third movie kind of builds back, you know, and it feels authentic, then I think he can do it, because everybody's got a stinker. You know what I mean? Everybody, it's none of us have a glimpse at the master plan, so we're all still making this stuff up as we go along.
They've set up the third movie for being a romantic. It's going to be like Quill trying to
bring Gamora back.
Bring Gamora back. That's going to be the main theme of it, with an adventure story wrapped around it. I can see that working really well, because then you have the payoff at the end of he lost Gamora, he gets Gamora back. That's going to give audiences what they want, and that's all you need.
I think, you know, like trying to please everybody is 100%. You're right, like that. You can't do that. But you also need to listen to the feedback on it. And I think that's where they fail. And also,
let me clarify, if I can speak for Chris. What I think Chris was saying is you don't duplicate that model. You know, people love the first movie so much, you don't give them that movie
the same movie again.
Yeah. No, I understand that. What I'm saying is, like, it's like if you let's use Ghostbusters 2015. You know, the movie came out, they talked all this shit. The movie came out, it largely bombed. And instead of going, okay, you know what, we went for this, it didn't work. We're sorry, you know, like, we'll try better next time. It's you guys are the problem. You know what I mean?
But that's different.
That's what I'm saying. That's like there's you know, trying to do everything by committee, and then there's, you know, looking at trying something out, trying it. If it doesn't work,
but you know what,
you move on.
Yeah, Pedro said it's different, but that's what Marvel is these days. Marvel and Disney is they're pointing the fingers at the fan base and saying it's your fault. You're a bunch of man babies.
No, but that's what creatively bankrupt people do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the things like they have no skills to write a proper story because they're not real people. They're like my agenda, my cause, whatever. You take them out of that context, and they'll be staring at their latte, saying nothing.
Right.
And it shows in their scripts. So when people don't like it, they have no argument, but say, no, you don't like it because you're a bigot. But weighted down, they're like rocking back and forth, crying like I suck. They do.
And because those are non-arguments, those are like children just name calling and finger pointing, but they're not really getting down to the real problems or how to move forward. But the thing is, like even like to Bob's point about the Paul Feig Ghostbusters. Well, Sony moved forward now, didn't they? They put out that movie after that, some years later, and they listened to people. And they
I like that movie, man.
That was a really good movie. At least the heart hook, the heart through line of that story was there. You know what I mean? They felt like real characters. They felt like there was real pathos, and all that stuff. And actually that emotional when what's his name's ghost comes back and shit. It's like I was like, fuck, man, this is kind of cool, Dude,
I really liked Harold Ramis, man. When I saw they did that, man, that was like, I'm not gonna lie, man, I got a little choked up.
And you know what? Usually those things,
man.
9 times out of 10, those things don't work. But they set it up properly. They gave you a little tease at the beginning. His character was present throughout the film, so it didn't feel like a cheat. They set it up and they played it out perfectly. When that reveal
like
happened,
the payout, like the kids were not like geniuses, like outright. Like the ghost of Harold Ramis was guiding the girl. Like, it was really good. Like, I like that movie.
I haven't seen it yet, actually. So
I really liked it, man.
But all the trailers look great, and I was looking forward to it. I just haven't got around to it.
Yeah, it actually succeeded. But let's go based on the same topic, but let's move into this direction. So
this is
DC has got the market by the balls right now. Marvel puts the MCU garbage TV and animation. I'm going to take a break. Bob, you're in charge. I've been drinking too many of these brewskis. So
drink up, Art.
Okay. I honestly, I think I know a lot of people are going to say that this is Zaslav was like waiting for this, and like he saw what was going on with Marvel and he decided to pull the trigger. I think it's just
serendipity, man.
Yeah, it's just serendipity. Yeah, exactly. That so many people have wanted this, them to go in some direction with the DC universe, and it just happened to coincide with the implosion of the Marvel universe. But here's the thing: do they learn their lesson from this and go, okay, we're not doing that?
Yeah. Well, okay. So basically, they have The Rock now. Cavill is back. Like they bring like manly men. Into the fray, like now we need to, see the scripts to see but the image is there.
Because I don't know if DC has Marvel by the balls now.
No, not yet.
But they could, right?
There's the opportunity.
Right, because if Zaslav is going to clean house and bring in Gunn, and if they're going to now do what DC does best is do superhero high adventure movies. That everybody wants to see, and then keep that as the tone, and then from there they could do some darker films, some lighter films, but keep that superhero high adventure thing going to drive it. If they're doing that while Marvel, the Marvel universe is bent on driving off the cliff with all this shit, then they will fucking turn the tables on them. They'll be laughing.
Marvel's gone woke, and DC wants to make money, and woke is not the way to make money. Middle America is not buying woke. They're not buying tickets to that shit. And guess what? Middle America is buying tickets to The Rock as Black Adam. They're buying tickets to Henry Cavill. They love Batfleck. I mean, like there's the door. They're swinging the door wide open.
I mean, the opportunity is there. But just keep superheroes in tights, not flip flops, and I think they were going to be gold, man.
Flip flops.
Well, the other thing too is like somebody and I can't remember. I think it was Marcus Kilgrew in the chat brought it up. Marvel watered down their product with all these TV shows.
Yeah, dude.
You know, that's another thing that I think really ended up hurting them. Like yeah, they were popular on DC on Disney Plus and all that, but when it came to their movies, it kind of like it sapped a lot of their strength.
Dude, those shows all should have been Daredevil quality in the writing.
Yes,
and they wouldn't have had a problem. But dude, the Loki sucked.
Well, this
Wanda sucked, dude. Like Winter's Captain America, well,
Falcon
America,
sucked.
Like they were all bad. Like I don't know, man. It's just
it's also it's the thing was like that thing where you look forward to seeing them every couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
You know. You look forward to that time period between, like that saying, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah.
You know, that time in between is important.
I wouldn't use my A-listers. I would save my A-listers for film.
Yeah.
And have the very rare, you know, periodic, you know, kind of almost cameo, even if you don't quite show them. Like when you do your, you've got your main universe. Marvel fucking just hit home run after home run. Because they were like, fuck that, we're just going to do whatever we want.
For the first decade.
For 10 years, man. It was amazing.
Right. But, but I think with DC, how Warner Brothers should handle this is, they want to use their main characters, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, the Holy Trinity, Justice League, all that type of shit. And, and then when you do, but Supergirl belongs on television. It's not, she doesn't need movies, and so that's where you do those other characters. Like Marvel, I think, has made a mistake trying to merge the TV and movie versus having them overlap. Yeah, I mean, obviously they need to overlap a little bit, but they need to all function in the same thing.
But I mean, they did it with Agents of Shield. Like Agents of Shield was a show about office guys talking about superheroes from the movies.
Right,
and
but
the
TV show should be like that. All right, this is going to hold you over until the film comes out.
Yeah, exactly.
Watch these DC TV shows until that Batman film drops. And then those are your.
And also, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was a different type of show versus a superhero show. You know what I mean? There were superhero elements to it, but it was different enough that it felt like its own thing.
It felt unique,
right. And so like some of it could be saturation, but my take on all like saturation is like too much of a good thing. I don't know if I believe in that. Like, I think if these TV shows were done very, very well, the Disney Plus stuff, I think if Marvel Phase 4 was done very, very well, I think we wouldn't be talking like this. You know what I mean? I think we'd be going, you know what, that multiverse of madness, the Doctor Strange movie was fantastic. We would be.
Well, that third eye was a piece of shit.
We would be praising that stuff, but I'm just saying that's how we would be. So I've never been one that thought like, because you hear some talk like, they just overly saturated, or Star Wars is overly saturated, or blah blah blah. I don't really think it is, because when I was a kid, when Marvel was on a roll or DC was on a roll with their books, I bought it all. You know what I mean? Like I never wanted it to end. You know what I mean? Like I couldn't have enough.
This is the first time, and I mean, Pum Spock mentioned this, and I thought the exact same thing, is where Marvel is starting to run out of ideas. That new Ant-Man trailer, and they go into whatever the Quantumanium or whatever.
Quantum Realm.
Quantum Realm.
And it looks exactly like Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so Ant-Man is just now Guardians of the Galaxy. Like there's no differentiation.
Yeah, the thing is, like, they fell in love with the Kirby look. They attained with Doctor Strange 1 when they're trying to like translate the Kirby like cosmic look to film. They did that really well there, but now every Marvel movie is using that palette for their effects, and it's showing.
Yeah,
It's
and
slower.
it looks all the same. It's like there's no differentiation. It's like everything is like, oh, we're walking into the cantina at Star Wars.
Well, I got two things moving in a different direction. I'm going to come back to Jerry's, and I just want to say one thing, and then we'll move forward with Jerry's question.
That's a good question.
It's good, yeah. But I just want to. There's something, and it kind of ties in what Jerry's saying. It's like the strange thing about what Warner Brothers is doing right now is the Zack Snyder universe was a failure, but his casting was really good.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So they're using all those actors. You know what I mean? They're signing them to deals. I don't know about Gal Gadot, but if they don't sign her, then they're really missing out.
Yeah, exactly.
Moving forward. So the three principals, which is, Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, and then Gal Gadot, like you keep those three in there, and I think you have a success. Even though Ben Affleck is an older guy,
yeah,
but
he works.
Exactly.
It still works, man. I think it's just the mask. Like that guy's a big fucking dude,
He looks awesome as Batman.
Yeah, he looks.
I got pumped when I saw like Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman on the same shot. I think
we spoke
Batman
on
v Superman.
that was first time it happened. How magical was that? When fucking
I jumped up,
showed up and fucking started whipping.
Even though the movie itself didn't live up to expectations.
Yeah, exactly.
How long have we been waiting for that?
Give those three actors a good script. Give those three actors a good script, and you've got a mega hit. You've got
a banger, man.
Yes,
you've got something that'll give Marvel a run for its money.
Yes, yes, and that's what gives me hope with David Zaslav, because I think they're going. These guys are bankable stars.
Yes,
this fucking work, because this is what I have a friend. He told me about how modern business works. Right, old business would work. He works for the Disney Corporation, believe it or not, so he knows firsthand. So like new graduates, what the hell is that?
That's your dog, probably.
Wow, that's funny. So like new people out of college would come in to these corporations, and they would just, to manage them. What they would do first and foremost is they would gut it. They wouldn't see what's working, what's not working. They just gut it, and then they rebuild. And so if you look at most business for the last decade or so, that's across the board, that's almost exactly what's happening. They just tear away the old, and then they just rebuild. Well, that doesn't work. The way it used to be is you have somebody like David Zaslav. That's what he's doing right now. He's observing what's working and what's not working. And he's going in there and he's cleaning house old school style, right? Yeah. And so what he's doing is he's like, all the Zack Snyder stuff didn't suck. These actors that he cast, like some of these things that he built works. So how can we bring that into the universe moving forward? You know what I mean? And I think that's a smart way. And to that point, you see Doctor Who that's bringing back the old principles. You see the Marvel universe now. They're talking about bringing Halle Berry back for Storm. They're bringing Hugh Jackman into Deadpool 3. You know what I mean? They're pulling the old proven formula. They're bringing into the Marvel universe. And I think Jerry makes a good point. Can Deadpool 3 change the MCU direction by bringing Hugh Jackman, by giving fans what they want? Well, I'll tell you, from this fan's point of view, Hugh Jackman's had his time. I don't want to see Hugh Jackman as Wolverine anymore. I want to see a young guy come in there and just be visceral and be new and different. So for me, like I can say, I think DC is moving in the right direction, because also those guys are untapped. They haven't really gotten a good movie to work with. Gal Gadot, Ben Affleck, and Henry Cavill. But I think Hugh Jackman had stuff to work with. He had his moment in what was it called, Logan. All of these things that happened. I don't want to see him anymore. I don't want to see Halle Berry anymore.
Dude, Halle Berry would be like casting Delores. I'm sorry, she's a lovely woman, but she is not Storm anymore.
I don't think she ever was, but anyway.
Yeah, but the thing is, Halle Berry was a hot woman.
T'Challa's mom
Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett.
And she's
Yeah.
older than Halle Berry, but that woman was born to play Storm.
Yeah,
Dude,
she
do you
was
remember
Oh my
Angela
God.
Bassett in Stranger Days? Remember that movie?
Oh,
Ralph Fiennes?
yeah.
Oh my God,
Shitty
dude.
movie, but
Angela Bassett was like one of my
Angela
biggest
Bassett,
crushes back
yeah.
in the day.
Smoking hot, yeah.
But
Yeah,
you know who could play?
Firecracker-
You know who could play
Firecracker
Wolverine
hot, and
now?
She was a great actress on top of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's awesome. But you know who could play a good Wolverine today?
Wolverine?
Scott Eastwood.
Scott Eastwood. He's
Still too
good.
tall.
Too tall.
So's
too skinny.
freaking Hugh Jackman.
Oh, I know. Hugh Jackman was too tall.
Yeah,
Hugh
I would like
Jackman
to
was
see a
too
short
Scott
tall.
Eastman's actually shorter than Hugh Jackman. Scott Eastman's only 5'11".
But
Scott
he's-
Eastman would
he's
be
like-
a good
he's like
Wolverine
Riley.
if you
Wolverine
wanted to
that's
play
like-
it off of the Hugh Jackman Wolverine, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually am with Nomsky. He looks more like Gambit, more so than.
Yeah, Scott Eastwood could play Gambit. I can see that.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
attitude though.
Well,
man.
what I would like to see moving for the MCU to be moving forward is to give us something we haven't seen before. I don't want to see stuff that I've already seen. I don't want to see what's his name as for Professor X coming back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the
I think
other-
they gotta go. They gotta go
Patrick
young
Stewart.
for X-Men and
Yeah.
Fantastic
Yeah.
Four because
Yeah.
they need the next decade.
Yeah, they need to reboot both those franchises, and I think
Yeah.
starting with the FF. and
Whoopi
then-
Goldberg, Storm,
Jesus
Duluth.
fuck.
No,
Say that.
I go with Della Reese, the star from
Della
Oh
Reese.
God.
yeah
What-
from
what do you
Touched
got,
by an
Waz?
Angel.
What do you got, Waz?
Who was the girl from 227?
Okay. Waz, what do you got? Oh, Jackie.
Jackie.
Jackie. Shut up.
There's
Scott's
your-
looking,
There's your
Todd's
diverse,
looking at us like he's gonna kill all of us.
No,
You're
he had the attitude.
the diverse casting right
Marvel-
He had
there.
the attitude
Marvel's
to call
not
down
gonna
the
do it,
storm.
No,
Marvel's not going to do it. We see where they're headed, and it's off the cliff. They're so fucking involved in representation. They're not telling stories anymore. They're
I
just-
got it.
It's Disney's whole pattern.
I got a
Star
good question.
Wars and
Chris.
Marvel.
Chris, to your point, what I heard is they're going back,
Oh,
or
really?
they're talking to those actors. I didn't make that up. Yeah, I had
Well,
heard
Oh yeah,
that.
no.
That they're
Wait.
going back to some of the old actors. At least they're talking to them at this
But I'm
point
saying
to bring them
save-
back in.
To save the MCU and keep it strong, they need to stop with what they're doing now.
yeah, exactly.
And a reboot, like a soft reboot of the entire
Soft
MCU,
reboot.
a soft reboot starting with the FF and then following up with the X-Men recast and doing them like young so they could do 3-4 movies or something.
I still want to see mutants be introduced into the MCU theatrically in a very successful way, one that makes sense, that isn't just shoehorned in a weird way. I think that their talk about what's her name, Ms. Marvel, as being a mutant. I think that's a horrible.
Oh, Miss Marvel from the TV show. Yeah, they've already.
Yeah, the
basically
TV
said
show.
it's a mutation.
Miss Marvel is a mutant.
Yeah.
That's
She's not a mutant though.
No, she's in the comics.
She's an Inhuman.
He's an Inhuman, yeah.
Yeah. Clint, hang your head in shame.
Wait, Miss
no,
Marvel.
it's
Marvel is,
I saw it
a
on the
Kree
TV
warrior?
show, so that's canon now. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Is it Miss Marvel?
That's canon.
Oh, the ding 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 show.
was that?
Yeah,
Oh.
that was awesome.
What was that, Chris?
Isn't she
Some
a
of you guys
Kree
read
warrior?
comic books.
Oh,
Yeah,
you're talking
good
about
for you.
Captain Marvel. We're talking about
Oh,
the
okay.
yeah.
I watch the TV shows, man, where the real action happens.
Yeah, the real Marvel.
And I do like Eric's suggestion as Lizzo as Storm.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine how that costume would just ride
She
up
could be.
Lizzo.
She could be two storms.
Oh,
yeah.
wait a minute. This is really good, Spark. I
Oh,
would be
yeah.
the
Awesome,
person loses her
man.
powers
Oh,
for whoever Rogue is.
that would
Oh
be
my God.
awesome.
Dude,
Let's
That would
get
be
that.
so good.
Yeah,
You know, they would have to trick her into doing that.
Yeah.
But
Right.
if they
Oh, she
could-
wouldn't
if
like
they
that.
Could, man, I would be like,
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, we
That
got
would
some
be-
rewrites on the day.
Yeah, see that forehead in that coma
so I have
forever.
I have a question though, guys. With Gunn taking over effectively on November 1st,
Mhm.
what's he gonna do with the Flash movie?
Okay,
they have an easy
okay,
out
let's-
with the
let's
Flash.
keep
They
that-
got
let's
Wally West.
Wait, hold
Okay,
on.
hang on.
Let's put a pin in that.
Yeah.
Let's just. I just want to read this, and
Yeah,
we'll
this
just,
is a
we'll just
good
chime
one.
in real quick. Keep Colossus of Deadpool into X-Men, yes or no? Okay, Todd.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Keep what was the question? Keep Colossus.
Keep
The
Colossus.
CGI
of Deadpool.
Colossus.
into
Oh, the
X-Men, yes or
CGI
no?
version? Yeah, I don't mind that. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob.
I would get I say yes, but I would get someone different to motion capture, and I'd get the guy from Reacher.
Okay, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that works. But, it's going to be a CG character at this point. But I mean, what they did in Deadpool was totally functional. It was fun.
Yeah.
But Deadpool is, I don't see it as part as the regular. They jumped their own fucking weird shark in their way and did something totally different. So Deadpool to me, its breakout success is because they went outside the normal Marvel shit.
Well, that's not going to be the
Fuck it,
case
we're gonna
moving
do-
forward.
Yeah, we're going to do our thing. And so
Oh.
that, I think that's why it works so well.
All right, Pedro, yes or no?
I say yay.
All right,
That's the most comic book accurate Colossus ever. Like, remember the Colossus from the X-Men movies? Like that kid, that was horrible.
Not good.
Yeah.
All right,
This
Clint.
Colossus had the accent, had everything.
What I think will be interesting is how they mesh all this stuff, because they've had Colossus in the main X-Men movies. They've had a version of Colossus in Days of Future Past, and they've had the Deadpool Colossus. And I think they'll look at what works and what doesn't work, because you're going to spend a lot of money on a CGI character.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff floating around there, and it comes down to the creative team that you pick. So,
well, I for what it's worth, I say yes. So what were you saying, Bob, before we went on a tangent there?
Oh, I asked so the question that I asked was, given that, and apparently he's taking over on November 1st. James Gunn and the other guy are taking over November 1st.
Wow, that's almost
fat. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
they're moving
next week.
Which is why I think that they're trying to take advantage. I think that this was the plan all along, but I think the timetable of it got moved up so that they can take advantage of Marvel tripping over themselves.
I disagree with you completely. I think Zaslav saw our podcast where we laid all this out for him, and then it's like,
make it happen.
These guys are on something. Let's do that.
Dude, regardless of it was planned or not, right now the soundtrack at Marvel is the Juggernaut song from Deadpool. Holy shit balls! Holy shit balls! What we gonna do? What we gonna do, dude?
But they are doing what we talked about a month ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the question is what do you think Gunn does about the Flash movie? Does he table it and reshoot? Knowing
you don't need to reshoot. Here's the thing. My side of things, I don't understand the financial aspect of what this would cost, but it seems to me the easiest thing to do is to recast that fucking part and then just CG the new actor's face on that character. Just remap his face on it and then just move forward.
I don't think Zaslav will do that. He's not going to throw any more money into that money pit. I think they got it in the can now. Whatever happens with Ezra, they're going to play that movie, and then there's going to be an after scenes credit with some young actor that they've got for a 9-movie deal that's like a hot commodity, and he's like, "Hey, I'm Wally West. I'm Wally West."
They already
got the guy. Yeah, they
have the
guy in. Yeah, I can't remember his name now, but they snuck him in.
Yeah, the thing is, what I think they're going to do is kind of like what Marvel's doing with the multiverse. I think they're just going to say this is the multiverse, so it's just going to be a tease that there are multiple universe, like DC universe, and then it's just going to be a one and done, and that's going to be it. Because if they do it right and they give you closure, like they gave you a good beginning, middle, and end of the story, and it's just a kind of a glimpse into like a what if or a multiverse story, then it's its own thing. Yeah, there's some of the same actors that might cross over, but it just gives you an idea of like maybe Michael Keaton's Batman really existed, in a universe. Maybe Ezra Miller was the Flash in a universe. So it's kind of like acknowledging all of these cinematic things that have happened in one movie and then just moving on. And basically, I think we're all in agreement. The only reason we're even talking this way, or they're talking this way, is they just want to get their money back. You know what I mean? Like they sunk a lot of money into this movie, and they just want to get it back. Otherwise, they would just scrap it like the Batgirl movie and all this other crap, and then they would just move forward with it.
And the thing is, if they play it right and they're smart, and I think a lot of them are, all of this talk about this, when this movie comes out, everybody's going to want to go out on that opening weekend and see if it's a train
the
wreck
opening
or not.
weekend for it's going to be huge because
Huge.
people want to see if it's the train wreck that they think.
People have been talking about this movie for a year and a half. Ezra's been in like all of the tabloids. Like if they play it right and they're smart, and they usually aren't in these positions because they are.
Here's the problem.
Like that's money to be made, and you can like wash your hands of it afterwards.
Here's the problem with that.
It didn't can it, so maybe it's a pretty good movie. You know.
Here's the thing. This movie was meant to be the soft reboot of the entire DCU.
Yeah.
They put that's the reason why they put so much money into it and everything. And that's why they don't want to. That's the initial reason why they didn't want to let it go. Because they put $250 million in this thing because it was supposed to be where their movies were going to take off, the takeoff point from their movies. That's why there's so many guest stars and stuff in it. That's the reason. And so,
but I think it can all still work for them.
I don't think so, man.
I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to use this in any way moving forward. I think they're going to try to like frame it up like I said, beginning, middle, and end as a one and done, just like a what if. Because for me, like you guys want to see the car wreck, and on some level, maybe
I'm not
for me,
saying I would
what I
see
want to see, what Clint did. Well, what I want to see, is I want to see freaking Michael Keaton, like play a grizzled old Batman. That's what I freaking want to see more than anything else. I don't care about Ezra Miller. I don't care about that version of the Flash or anything. I really want to see Michael Keaton as Batman again.
The issue I have with it though is that I feel like if they don't Back to the Future this thing and they reshoot as many scenes with him as they possibly can, because they can do like in Back to the Future. A lot of the scenes where you don't see Marty McFly's face directly, that's still Eric Stoltz.
Stoltz.
Yeah.
Eric Stoltz. Yeah.
Eric Stoltz.
Have some respect, man.
Eric Stoltz.
But if they don't do that with this movie after the opening week, it's going to crash and burn.
I don't think they care. I think what they want to do is they just want to try to get their money back.
They're not going to get their money back though if that happens.
Well, I don't know how else they're going to do it, because if they try to tie this into a universe, a James Gunn universe moving forward, they're really tying James Gunn's hands. And unless James Gunn gets to rewrite that Ezra Miller Flash movie or has something to do with the revamping of that, I think it's going to be a clusterfuck. Moving forward, or it's a lot of baggage for that guy to have to deal with moving forward.
And I mean, there's been the rumors out there. The reason that they don't want to get rid of this movie, they don't want to reshoot this movie, is because screening audiences have thought it's
just really good. Yeah.
There's rumors of Christopher Reeves. There's obviously Michael Keaton. Like there's a lot of Elseworld multiverse kind of stuff in there. You see shots where there's multiple Ezra Miller versions. So like I can see that playing into the hardcore fan base. I personally, I don't want them to reshoot it. I want to see what it is right now. And then see where they go from there, that's as a fan.
The comic book fan of me wants to just see the movie as it was made.
Yeah.
But speaking and just looking like I said, pontificating about the future.
Yeah.
I think if they release this movie, it'll do really, really well the opening weekend, and then it's just gonna fall off a cliff.
Well, what I want to see is I just want to see a good one and done. I don't care how this. To be honest, I don't want this to be in any way connected to them moving forward. I would just like to see a cool Elseworld story with all these other cinematic actors that played these characters in the past and how it relates to some of the Snyder stuff, and then just be done with it. And hopefully, it'll be good enough that Warner Brothers can make their money back on it, live and learn, and then just move forward with the James Gunn stuff. Because as a creative person, I know that a lot of us have been in this position before where you inherit bullshit from the previous creative team. And then you're kind of stuck with how to make this work. And to expect 1 2-hour adventure to do all that, it's just too much to ask for. Like some creative teams that come in and take over, they can kind of fix it over a course of months. I'm talking about comic books, but very rarely do they ever fix it with one book. And I just think that for a 2-hour adventure to try to have this movie somehow like wrap up all the Snyder stuff and then to kind of move it forward in a James Gunn, direction. I just think it's way too much to ask and expect for this movie. I think at best we can hope for a good one and done Elseworlds tale. And to be honest, that's all I'm looking forward to. Because I don't think they can
too
do
much of that is also it's a bad thing. And I think that goes for Marvel and DC with the multiverse kind of shit. Is that that's Star Trek's negative zone, negative universe. It's something you want to dip into once in a while because it's cool and it's neat. You do too much of it, and it's fucking just gonna water down everything.
It waters down everything.
It's too much.
It becomes hard to write too.
That's a little bit of the problem. That's a little bit of the problem they're working with the TV show. They're watering the shit out of the Hulk.
Yeah.
I mean, and now Falcon is Captain America. They're watering down these characters. Ironheart is going to be Iron Man. It's like if everybody can be the superhero, then being the superhero isn't special anymore.
Yeah, mistake
after
it's a
mistake.
Also,
exactly.
The iconic characters are where your money is that's where your bread is buttered.
Yeah.
And when you start moving away from that and going, and again, we all know why they're doing this. They're doing it for their social agendas and everything.
Diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, but the thing is, make new characters that are fucking fantastic if you want.
They don't want to do that because it takes time.
Well, they want to tear down traditional characters, and that in and of itself is a fucking serious issue because that's what we're all here for, But when you're gonna do, the whole point of bringing Gunn in and and having that creative point, man, is to have a cohesive universe, not to have a fucking multiverse, not to, you want one fucking, thing that we could all follow and hang our hats on and be involved in. And then you can have your TV shows be like, the supplement, in between those films and everything. And the movies have to be those on point fucking killer, big impacts that we all want from DC. But when you're gonna, it's just now that we're, we've got that point guy and everybody hopes that he's going to do well. I think it's kind of interesting that what is it? Fucking the same day that they announced Gunn, okay, Batman 2 is now fucking delayed. Oh, wait, but maybe Affleck is back. Because maybe they are doing that restructure. Maybe they're gonna fucking shelve the Reeve Batverse and fucking and go with Batfleck after all.
Well, Batfleck's in Aquaman. They accidentally slipped that.
Yeah, but
Batfleck came out of the universe.
He signed on for 3 movies or something.
Yeah, there's all kinds of rumors going around about Batfleck right now.
So
after you get done with them, Chris, they're definitely shelving that Matt Reeves stuff.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the only thing I liked about the Matt Reeves idea is a younger Batman. I was really surprised that Zack Snyder pigeonholed himself into an aging Batman. It made no sense if you're launching a new franchise, and you want some kind of longevity, you don't hire an older actor. You hire a younger actor to come in. I mean, haven't they learned anything from the Marvel Universe stuff?
I like a lot of Snyder stuff, but his whole launch of the DCU was Batman versus Superman from the end of Frank Miller's Batman run. He launched everything at the end. It's no, these guys are first meeting. It isn't this old jaded superheroes beating the crap out of each other. Let's start from fresh. He started everything from the end, and it's it was so
because
he
wanted to do Dark Knight Returns Batman.
He wanted to steal all the good stuff from the end. It's no, these are the first time we see Batman and Superman together on a movie screen. Started from the beginning. It was
the thing is
too quick with the big stories. He should have saved.
Yes,
this is Goyer.
Doomsday too.
Yeah. Well, no. What I heard is not to contradict what you said. I heard that Warner Brothers actually came in and said that they wanted the Batman Superman story. And so they're the ones that derailed Snyder, because I think Snyder got derailed there. and also he got derailed with his 2-part Justice League movie. So I think Warner Brothers, this is part of those many hands, like all of this, too many executives kind of coming in and doing, you know, the micromanaging thing, and so it just became a cluster F after that. Yeah. But I think that the executives did that because and I'm not defending Zack Snyder, because I think his take on all the DC universe was 100% wrong. I didn't like any of it. I think the closest to liking any of it was there were certain parts of Man of Steel that I thought were pretty cool.
Did you like the part where he decided not to save his dad from a stupid hurricane or tornado just because there was people out there? Fuck Goyer. Well, He's a horseshit writer.
Yeah, just think about the Chris Reeves stuff, right? His dad's having a heart attack and he couldn't save his dad. You know, like that was just so gut wrenching, and it's such a Superman beat. Like, I'm Superman and I still couldn't save my dad. Like,
it's almost like there were good writers in that movie.
Yeah, but you don't play it like I could save my dad, and I don't. Like, there's not one of us talking or listening right now that if they had an opportunity to save their father, that they wouldn't take
fucking Superman.
It's not even a human thing. Like, if I could do that, even if I might die in the process, I would try to save my old man.
It's you know what I mean? Garbage.
Superman would sacrifice himself to save anyone. That's Superman.
Superman threw around the world backwards so he could dig Lois Lane out of her crushed car.
And the thing is, to Chris's point, he wasn't even going to put his life on the line. It was a freaking hurricane.
Give away his identity.
It was a couple gusts of wind to that guy. You know, it's nothing.
His dad gave him a stern look, so he stayed there. It's like, come on.
Yeah, that did not.
If anything, if you're gonna play that beat Zack Snyder, you fucking hack, is you play it like that's the part that defines the character after that, because those are moments in a character's life that define them moving forward, and it had nothing to do with the development of that character afterwards. It was just kind of a moment in time. So he just honors his dad and stays in hiding. Like, I didn't think that was enough. I didn't think that was enough. I thought that was really lame. And at the very least, there should have been a moment where, like, his dad was either proven right, you know, where he acknowledged it, or wrong definitively. Like, I love you, Dad, but I have to do this. This is what I'm supposed to be. And I know you were trying to protect me, but you know,
and he moves so fast, nobody's gonna see him anyway.
Yeah. Well, you know that. I know that. Everybody knows that, except for Zack Snyder.
but it's not just that. Like, it's also like Batman's motivation for hating Superman is so stupid.
Oh God!
Oh, dude, yeah.
But again, that's the whole thing that we talked about a month ago, is the tone of it, and that's the one. My primary beef with Zack is that he didn't get the tone of Superman. You know, I mean, I think the tone of his Batman is fine. You know,
Superman was freaking scary, man.
But not for.
I don't think it's Zack. Zack is a cinematographer. He's not a writer. Zack is a cinematographer.
Yeah,
he's a very good director. I think it all comes down to the writer that he's got, and he's strapped on with Goyer because Goyer had been with Christopher Nolan. But Christopher Nolan was the writer on the Batman movies until you get to the third movie, where Goyer probably wrote a bunch of the third movie, where like the entire Gotham Police Department is just sitting in the sewers for 9 months and aren't going to do anything.
Eating rats and not dying.
Yeah, exactly. They're just hanging out down there, just waiting for the plot.
The turtles were bringing them pizzas.
Yes, yeah. It's all comes down to writing, and Goyer has been a hack always. He was a hack on those Superman movies. Don't get me started.
Yeah, I was gonna say we're gonna go down a rabbit hole. I think it's
too much.
I think it's time, man. I think we're gonna go down another rabbit hole here. We're gonna be here.
Yeah. But I think just to sum up, you know, I do think that we're looking forward to what James Gunn is going to bring to the universe. I think we're all in agreement that one of the major conversations that has to happen first and foremost is to find the tone for the entire universe as a general tone, someplace that can go, in different directions, but
superhero high adventure is what DC does
Yep.
best.
yeah, and just
Yeah.
keep it,
Yeah,
and also like not just like the tone of like how everything feels, but also art directionally. Like if you look at the Marvel Universe stuff, there's coherence in the universes.
Oh, yeah,
like
absolutely.
every world looks the same. So like if you go with Zack Snyder, Zack's got a really dark view of the world. He doesn't believe in altruism. So all the universe, everything in the universe looks sad and dark. So you can't really have that, because once you go there, where do you go from there?
Right,
You can do that with Batman,
Yeah.
but as a general tone, you have to set up a really just a generic, almost a generic kind of tone visually and just emotionally, just how the world functions, how it works. And then once you do that, then you can start talking about bringing in different talent. You know what I mean? Like, I think this guy would be good for Batman. This guy would be good for Superman, so on and so forth. Then start getting your teams, start having those guys pitch ideas to you and seeing you. But two, if they create an overall DC universe Bible, like this is how the world's supposed to function, this is the technology in this world, this is how far advanced it is, and set all the basically where it can go, what the restrictions on the universe are, and
Don't
all
rush
these things. Yeah, and then don't even get into character yet, just the world itself, like how Gotham works, how Metropolis works, how Central City, all these different places work. And then hire your teams, and then have those guys pitch ideas within these parameters of the universe and say, yeah, we can go maybe more comedic if the character, like if you do Booster Gold or if you do Blue Beetle, like you can get a little bit more silly with those things. But if you go Batman, the tone should be a little darker. If you go Superman, it should be a little brighter, a little bit more hopeful. Each one of these things have tones, but they should all work within the universe tone, so oh, go ahead.
Justice League, I think, the Justice League that we know of, not like Keith's Justice League, where it was like, too bright, funny, and stuff like that. But again, just generic Justice League that we know, superhero adventure, the tone of Marv's Teen Titans. A good superhero fucking.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it is perfect. And to do that vibe, and then from there we go darker for Batman. We go more hopeful for Superman, but the general fucking world is just exactly that. The Marvel's Teen Titans, that vibe, superhero high adventure, that type of shit, and then fucking just rock and roll. And speaking of that, I would throw fucking Marvel's Teen Titans into that mix in the film world. Like Batman, Superman, Woman, Justice League.
Once they get the ball rolling, Teen Titans is like an X-Men for DC Universe if they do it right.
Absolutely. I was a Teen Titans fan before I was an X-Men fan.
Yeah, a lot of people were.
I'm telling you, man. Like
I got turned on at the same time.
Wolfman and Perez, the perfect team. Perfect.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I still remember a lot of those storylines. And I think you're onto something, Chris. I think if they use that,
I'm always onto something.
we're writing it down too, Chris. Just so you know.
Yeah, we're gonna rip you off just like Warner Brothers.
and the nice thing is how many of these X-Men, Fantastic Four, all this stuff has been used before and thrown out there. Teen Titans has been on whatever the TNT show or the HBO Max, but nobody's hardly seen that show. So you can kind of do a Teen Titans from scratch that most people haven't seen and use those storylines that most people don't even know about. And all that stuff is sitting there untouched, where a lot of this other stuff has already been thrown out there.
And Teen Titans, they're on TV. They don't belong on TV. Those are movie fucking characters.
Yeah. And you know what else? I mean,
the first animated show was really good.
Yeah,
the first Teen Titans animated show, the first one, not Teen Titans Go, but the one that was had a little more serious.
I love the original Teen Titans.
Dude, that was amazing, man.
Dude, the 3 episode arc where it's just Robin and Slade.
Yeah, dude.
It's like that's almost like right out of the freaking comics, man, the way that they act towards each other.
Yeah. But like for me, like the universe is I don't know. I just think that take from the comic books as much as you can. I think the Titan stuff is good, but there's a way you have to introduce like a lot of this stuff. Like I always thought the Justice League should not be a monthly comic. It should always be an annual. This should be an event. Like, how do you explain how the Justice League are just hanging out with each other every day? You know what I mean? It just doesn't make sense. So make it an annual event. So I think Marvel did that right with the Avengers. You know what I mean? Like you have each one of them have solo movies, and then at the end of the year,
together,
and then they come together, and then somehow they kind of overlap, and then you build to this event. And I think the Justice League should be set up that same way. And I think sidekicks. The one thing that DC has that Marvel does not, and it's a harder sell, is sidekicks. So what I would like to see James Gunn try to do, and DC really dig down, because it's really hard to do, is to try to sell like characters like Teen Titans and stuff like that. But don't do it like, here's the Teen Titans. Do it as like, after a year or so, Batman, there's a serious reason that he needs an award, you know, or he needs, you know, or he meets, you know, Robin, Dick Grayson, and then, you know, you bring that storyline into it, and then you have it progress that way. And also, if it's Ben Affleck, it's even better, because then you do a Batman Beyond, but you do it with Dick Grayson. You know what I mean? You do it with the actual Robin, and it'll come across way better. And then when those actors start aging up, then you introduce them into a Titan in a real world way. And I think DC has an opportunity to really do some cool shit that Marvel hasn't been able to do, and also that only applies to the DC universe, that doesn't apply to the Marvel universe. Because also DC, each one of those heroes have their own like turf that they patrol, right? And so Marvel doesn't have that. So each one of these places can have its own tone, you know. So art directionally, Central City shouldn't look anything like Metropolis, and Metropolis shouldn't look like Gotham, and so on and so forth.
And they definitely shouldn't be across the friggin' lake from each other.
That was
oh my god, that was
it's like,
right, man.
Just across the bay, there's Metropolis.
We're getting like Superman can't patrol both cities.
Yeah, we can see it from across the bay. Oh, look, there's Metropolis. And then for some reason in Zack Snyder's head, they look exactly the same.
Kansas, Metropolis, Gotham across the lake.
All right, take us home, man.
All right, brother. Okay, so thanks to everybody for hanging out. I know there's a lot of competition with these CG shows, so we appreciate everybody hanging out with us. If you could, before we leave, give us a thumbs up. It helps the algorithms. Post out, let people know that the Pontificators here every Wednesday night at 8 Eastern Standard Time. I know I think I wrote 7. I get confused very easy in my later years.
That's all down. Oh dear.
Give the wrong time.
Yeah. And so thanks to everybody for hanging out. Thanks to all you guys. I think we're really firing on all cylinders. I think this show is really turning into something great. Something that Todd and I envisioned years ago when we came up with this idea. Hey Todd, how long have we been running this thing? Going?
Good question. I can give you an answer.
It's been at least 2 years just with me.
No, it's been 4 years almost.
I was saying more than that. Actually, maybe 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I'm gonna say that Pontificators is the oldest existing CG show out there that's still running, and it's all because of you guys and your support. And I just want to thank all you guys, Chris Wozniak, Bob, Comic Book Bob, Pedro Eng, and Clint Helinski, and Todd Mulrooney, the man, the myth. So,
Todd, before we leave, Todd, Todd teaches. Give us a creator to look into, Todd, an old school guy. Let's go.
Well, okay, old school guy,
or new school guy. Somebody to look into. You're the professor, man.
There was 2 books that came out this week. They're European books. 2 books. One's called The Snake and the Wolf, or The Wolf and the Snake, or something like that. Really, I read that one. That was really good. And the other one is the Republic of the Skull. That's a pirate book, and they're both drawn excellent. They're The Snake and the Wolf is Philip Xavier, who's written a lot of European books, a ton of them. And the The artist is Matt's. Great stuff. They work together on Tango. Tango is another really good book. So yeah, I would go look for these European books. Now I know it's $9.99 if you want to read it on Kindle. If you have a Kindle or some kind of device, that's not expensive at all. But if you can get your hands on a physical copy of those books, they're just beautiful, beautifully illustrated, beautifully colored. They're both over 100 pages, by the way, which really shocking because usually a European book is about 60. But these the graphic novel, the Snake and the Wolf, is a full graphic novel. It's not tomes like where it's different editions. It's one story, one book, and it's over 130 pages. You got to look for it.
Sweet. We got some good parting shots. So good show. Love the show. Great topics and discussion. We need an anniversary show. That would be a neat idea.
Yeah. Oh, like a yearly wrap up.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing. Great show with us.
You did it before Christmas.
Yeah.
The year-round wrap-up. Yeah.
That would be good. That's a good idea.
We'll get Chester to come back.
Holy shit.
Chester Busby the third. And he just a chain smoking the whole show. Yeah.
Nice.
4 years is nothing for Art. He's immortal. Yes. Art's probably a vampire. How dare you? But very good, you guys. So we'll see you next week on another Pontificators, 8 Eastern Standard Time. Thanks again, and take care, everyone.
And we're still here. Yeah.
What the
Just leave it
hell?
live.
Yeah.
Just leave it